Hello and welcome to the Schapera Show, where Viv and Neil explore this big adventure called life. Our guest today is from Cincinnati, and his name is Kenn Day. Hi, Kenn. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, Vivian. Thank you for having me.
Kenn, before I let you speak, I want to tell everyone something about you, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so I want everyone to know Kenn is one of the first people that I met after we arrived here in 1991, when we arrived in Cincinnati, and Kenn and I have been friends and colleagues ever since then. Not only is Kenn one of the very few healers that I trust to work on me, but he is one of 3 people whom I use to understand what it takes to become a healer when I founded Four Winds Academy. And I had to formulate a training program. And Kenn was one of the people where I looked carefully at his profile because he was working as a practicing healer. I looked at his background, his skills, his philosophy of life, and his actual lifestyle. And I used what I saw in him to understand what layers to provide in order to generate an effective professional in the healing arts. And it is really a great pleasure for me to introduce all of you to this wonderful man who has dedicated his life in this meaningful way. Kenn, can you tell us what you are currently doing in your work?
Well, first of all, Viv, I have to respond to that. I had no idea that you had looked to me as, kind of a role model for healing, but I'm profoundly honored. Thank you.
I didn't know you didn't know. I thought you were aware. Well, there we go, the magic.
Yeah, a little new information there.
Yes.
So I am actually working as a full-time professional shaman, working with clients in our practice over at Body and Soul with my wife, Patricia, who kind of jokes that she does the body and I do the soul, but it goes back and forth. And I pass on the shamanic teachings I've received to a series of training workshops and my writing.
Well, yeah, and that's a short list because we know there's a whole lot more. So let's not skip over the longer background because I think it is really significant in terms of what you've put together. And we can't do more than just describe the surface layer here as we speak together, but there is a lot of depth. And I think if you give your background, that will help for people to understand how you got to be speaking the words that you speak today. So could you tell us more about your academic career, how you began, things like that?
Okay, well, I'll preface this by saying that the main thing that I do, my shamanism, is not something you can get certified in. And any certification of that, other than by actual shamans, isn't really worth the paper it's printed on. But I actually found there was a realization I had many years ago that everything I've done, all the training I've got, all supports what I do in my life now. So no time wasted. So I graduated from high school in 1977, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And I immediately went into an acting program over at CCM. And after a year there, I transferred up to the acting program up at Wright State in Dayton. And I became very disillusioned because I found out that professional theater was not nearly as warm and cozy as the community theater, that community that I had been a part of back when I was in high school. And so I dropped out of that program, came back down to Cincinnati, and worked in the printing industry and developing my fine art and graphic art portfolio. And
I didn't know you were an artist, but I've been looking at your paintings on Facebook and been mighty impressed.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I did actually go back to school in fine art.
Oh, I didn't realize.
But before that, when I was in high school, my junior year in high school, my aunt, who I was living with, told me that she was not going to pay for me to go to university when she hadn't paid for her own kids to do it. And I went, okay. He said, so you need to go to trade school and learn a trade. And so I went out to Scarlet Oaks Vocational School for 1 year and studied commercial art, which led me to believe that I really did not want to be a commercial artist. But I got great grades, which really helped my GPA. So that year I went back to Green Hills and actually graduated from high school with enough credits so that I could go into college then. And I said, don't worry, you're not paying for this. I will do it. And that's where I went into theater, and then I left that. And I was very into Taekwondo at the time. And I had a teacher who told me, Ken, if you're going to be hurting people like this, you really should learn to fix them as well. And so I wound up doing this kind of sporadic, informal apprenticeship in Chinese medicine with this guy, Guangjiang, something like that, in Lombard, Illinois, this little area near Chicago. I would take the train, take the Amtrak up there and get on the L and go out to Lombard and sweep out the garage that he had his clinic in and grind up, dried out insects and roots and berries and such.
Sounds like the Karate Kid, Ken.
Yeah, except he didn't make me wax his car. But I did learn a lot. And, probably the biggest thing that stuck with me was this one time he said, you have to memorize all these points to be a good acupuncturist. But to be a great acupuncturist, then you have to forget them. I was like, I got that. I think I maybe forgot them before I actually memorized them all. But, details. So
that's something
I learned a lot from Dr. Guo, yeah. Mm-hmm. And let's see, then I went back to university and entered the fine arts program at DAP, which is our University of Cincinnati Fine Arts School. Graduated in 87 and went back into work as a designer and illustrator, and actually was a manager for a while at a graphic arts place. Anyway, got out of that. Ended up going to massage school out at SHI in Lebanon, here in Cincinnati area, and got my state license in 89. Now, this whole time, since graduating from high school, I had been going through the shamanic initiations, and by 89, I'd been doing that for 12 years, okay? And so I started bringing that stuff, those shamanic techniques, into my work in massage, and that gradually completely transformed my massage work into actual healing. But then I also, I studied Jin Shin Do. I studied structural therapy at the Psychophysical Institute of Chicago. And by then, I kind of figured out that what I was doing was shamanism, so I was studying everything I could find on shamanism, alternative healing, and I'm still doing that. I mean, I just got back from a trip to Mongolia where I went over and practiced with Mongolian tribal shamans in this barren landscape of the Gobi Desert and the Altai Mountains. Mind-blowing. But then, this is really important, in 2001, I was teaching a workshop. I brought a bunch of students over with me to Cornwall, and a friend had come over from Germany and said, Ken, you'd love this. I just learned this new technique in Germany that you will find fascinating. I said, well, show me. So she showed me systemic constellation work, or family constellation work. And I watched it, and I was blown away. I was like, this is group shamanism. Everyone's in a trance. They don't even realize it, and they're connecting right into the ancestral soul. This is amazing. So Patricia and I actually completed a certification course with Heinz Stark that wrapped up in 2005. And let's see, I also have certification in medical Qigong, and as a Qigong and Tai Chi instructor. I think that's it. I think that covers it.
I doubt that covers it, but it's enough, isn't it? I mean, we have to drill in a little bit. So you said that you just came back from this trip to Mongolia, and what can you say was the most important point of learning for you on this trip?
Well, I would have to say that the biggest thing for me was that I had already had people tell me, acknowledge that I was a shaman, right? And for years I was going around saying, well, I do shamanism, but I'm not really a shaman because, I'm not a, indigenous person. And then I was up at a conference in Detroit, and I met this character named Saren Gerald, who was a very interesting person who was over here at the same conference, and she was a kind of Siberian Mongolian Buryat shaman, and she told me in no uncertain terms, you are the only person at this conference who is actually doing shamanism besides me.
Yes,
and
yes.
I was like, okay, well, probably just being nice, but it was an ego stroke, but it also got me to realize what I'm doing. I knew what I was doing wasn't core shamanism. It wasn't Harner's version of shamanism, and it wasn't New Age shamanism. It was very akin to what I was finding in these studies I was doing in indigenous shamanism, but it was different. So when I engage with my own God, my spirit ally, who I call grandfather, the way he works through me with my clients is identical to what I observed with the Darkhold tribal shamans when I was there in Mongolia. And so, and then on top of that, not only did they acknowledge me as a shaman and as an elder, which was a little bit, but when one of the shamans was performing with a Savdag, a mountain spirit that was also one of his ungods and his great grandfather, very interesting, his ungod told him to tell me that I have two ungods, right?
Oh, so you got it from a different place, not from a human, but from a spirit.
Yes, exactly. So not only do I have the validation coming from actual tribal shamans in the birthplace of shamanism, right?
Right.
But
no,
from their spirits. And
that's unbelievable. What an acknowledgement.
Well, it definitely blew my mind. And because I went over there, I was invited by them and by a shaman friend from Wales. And we went over and did this trip with them. And he and I were talking and say, I think we're both kind of expecting them to say, oh, you guys, you're not doing shamanism. I don't know what you're doing, but it's not shamanism. Right.
I think it's called imposter syndrome. We're all suffering from.
Yes.
Could we be imposters?
A dose of imposter syndrome.
And then the day comes when we realize, no, actually, this is how it works. And we've been blessed in a very particular kind of way. We're very fortunate. Yeah. Well, Ken, I mean, I'm not surprised. I could have told you that. But anyway, tell us about how you use this shamanism to actually help people here in Cincinnati and I guess in other places too. I think you travel and teach as well.
I do. And, basically that's it. I have clients that I work with one-on-one. I have people that I teach. So basically it comes down to when I'm working with someone, the first thing I do is I go into medicine body, which allows me to extend my awareness into the energetic vehicle around me and around them. And this drops me into a trance state, allows me to connect in with grandfather and other spirits, and immediately says, okay, we can start working. So that work may deal with bringing back parts of their essence, excuse me, their soul essence that has gotten lost through trauma. It might be sorting out things with their ancestors that, need to, somebody needs to be acknowledged or excluded in some rare cases. In some cases, it's working with specific diseases because diseases have spirits. And so in many cases, we can heal a person by bringing that spirit out of the person's body, out of their energetic matrix, and taking it down into the underworld and liberating it, which is a Buddhist way of saying kill it. So that's the way I deal with people one-on-one. And it varies. I mean, every individual is different. You know that. And we never know what we're going to do until it happens. And we just...
Exactly. You've got to follow your nose, which is part of the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And what about family constellation work? How does that fit in with what you're talking about now?
That is so amazing. I teach workshops or offer workshops where we do group constellation, which is tremendously powerful. I just did one last weekend, and we had about a dozen people there. Amazing work. Basically, you sit in a circle, and then the client sits next to me, and we get a sense of, all right, what is it that needs looked at? And then that person will choose someone to represent an aspect within their system, either their family, soul, or whatever the system is we're looking at. So maybe someone to represent themselves, someone to represent their mother, their father, whoever. And then those people are stood up and placed intuitively in the field, in the center of the room. And that overlaps with the family soul, with the ancestral soul. And those individuals are able to report with astonishing accuracy things that are going on at a soul level in that person's system. And from there, we're able to invite the soul to move forward, to overcome obstacles, to reveal dynamics that can help things heal. That's it in a nutshell. And it really doesn't do it justice, but hey.
But it sounds to me, the way you're describing it, Ken, as though your identity has become physician of the soul. Do you mind if I call you that, physician of the soul?
You can call me whatever you like, Viv. You've certainly known me long enough.
I know, but I'm also thinking, as I'm listening to you, that there's another term I could use for you, and that is soul whisperer. Would you like that one?
Well, this is why I call myself a shaman, because shaman is such a mysterious word, and most of us don't really know what that means, and so I constantly have to define the term because people have different definitions. But that, in a sense, is that, it's a soul physician, the soul whisperer. It's the one who engages with the spirit realm on behalf of their community, both as spirits and as humans.
That's right. Yeah, it is that bridge, isn't it? Ken, before we wrap up this section, can you tell us how people can get hold of your books? Tell them the names of your books and where to get them, and how to get hold of you.
Dance of Stones was published back in 2008, and Post-Tribal Shamanism is essentially the workshop, the textbook of my workshop series. Both of these are available currently on Amazon.com or, basically any place that sells books. You can order it. And Planting the Seed of Shamanism in the West, we'll see. You can get in touch with me either through www.shamanstouch.com or www.bodysoulcincy.com. And both of those lead to my email and such.
Good. So let me go over those. Shamanstouch.com is SHAMANSTOUCH, shamanstouch.com, and Body Soul Cincy is body, BODY, soul, SOUL, Cincy, CINCY.com. This is where you can find out more about Ken. Well, thank you, Ken. Everyone, you've been listening to our guest, Kenn Day. He's a shaman, he's a soul whisperer, he's a physician of the soul, and he's here on the Schapera Show talking to us. And we are going to hear more from him after the commercial break. So be sure to join us again when we come back together.
Imagine taking a journey with metaphysical teachers and spirit guides right in your own home. Well, now you can with Vivian Schapera's book, Everyday Magic. Everyday Magic helps you understand your life from new perspectives as it guides you to feel motivated to take control of your life and your future. Get Everyday Magic today at Amazon.com, or for more information, visit Schapera.com or call 513-891-8062. That's 513-891-8062.
VMware is a fresh perspective for virtualization on the cloud. Shaping the future, this all-in-one platform delivers virtual cloud service on any cloud. Visit our HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on VMware.
CrystalHealingTechniques.com is the place to learn crystal healing, and there's even some free courses and certification. CrystalHealingTechniques.com has courses from beginner to advanced, and you'll learn from a master crystal healer. Explore new and unique material as you learn from the amazing award-winning textbook, The Complete Guide to Crystal Surgery. So discover the world of healing through crystals at CrystalHealingTechniques.com. Visit CrystalHealingTechniques.com or call 513-891-8062.
If you're not in the U.S., listen up. SureTrader is one of the most trusted and reliable names in share trading. With 6-to-1 leverage and other perks, SureTrade is the best for penny stocks and day trades. To find out more, visit our advertiser page and click on the SureTrader banner.
If you like this program and you want to hear more of the Schaperas, then tune in to their YouTube channel called Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. There's demos, meditations, interviews, and more on their YouTube channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. So relax, enjoy, and learn unique material as you watch the Schaperas in action. Visit today on YouTube, and remember that channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. Do it now. There's a respected metaphysical academy that's been around for over 22 years, and it's still going strong. If you're interested in energy healing, crystal healing, developing intuition, or shamanism, then the Four Winds Academy for the Healing Arts and Sciences is exactly right for you. With in-person and online classes and full certifications, their experienced teachers work with you and take an interest in your progress. To find out more, visit fourwindsacademy.org. That's the number 4windsacademy.org. Or call 513-891-8062.
Expanding your mind. HealthyLife.net.
Hello and welcome back to the Schapera Show. We are exploring this big adventure called life with fellow Cincinnatian Kenn Day, who is also a healer, shaman, and author. Kenn, we're in the part of the show now where I like to get a more personal take on what you offer. So let's go back to that moment where you began to own your identity, when you started to realize that what you're doing is called shamanism.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's a ways back.
I think it was when you read a particular book. I think that's the piece I'm looking for.
Well, at the time, there wasn't, you know how there's all these books on shamanism now, but
yes.
Back in the early 70s, late 60s, when I was first trying to sort this out, there really wasn't much available. And Mircea Eliade had a massive book on shamanism called Shamanism, Archaic Techniques of Ecstasy. And it was basically a compilation of all these field reports from ethnographers and anthropologists and such who had gone out and worked with and studied indigenous populations. And then Mircea Eliade looked at this and go, oh, this is interesting. All these people have something in common. We're going to call them the shaman. And since then, like with many Pathfinder people, his work has been very discredited. But I know for myself, as I'm reading through these experiences of different shamanic initiations in different cultures, I'm going, wow, that sounds like my childhood. And then about the different techniques that they're learning and the relationship to the spirits, it's like, wow, maybe what I'm doing is shamanism. Maybe I'm not crazy.
Oh, you're not crazy. I haven't got my moment yet of being confirmed that I'm not crazy. Oh, my gosh, I'm a little bit envious, I have to admit. So you got to read about yourself and what you do in a book.
Well, I'm not entirely sure, just to be clear.
No. Well, something crazy is happening, that's for sure. That part we know. But Ken, with your knowledge of the human soul and all the work that you've done, and all the work that you've done with your spirit mentor, grandfather, have you got something you can tell us more about the human soul that we can use for our own understanding and to help us understand ourselves?
Well, I think that probably the biggest thing that I could say in the few minutes we have left is that, newsflash, we humans all have at least 3 souls. We have an ancestral soul that comes from the ancestors, a celestial soul that has lived many lifetimes before and will probably go on and live more after this. And then we have a vital soul that is who we are in this human experience, right? And then we also have a lot of, there's medicine body, there's dream body, there's the shamanic body that we use when we go into the spirit realm. But we've lost touch with that. We've lost touch with that in the West because we've been so focused on who we are as individuals that we have lost touch with who we are as communal entities, as tribes, as families, as anything that's larger than the individual.
So this is like a wound of disconnection, isn't it?
Absolutely. I refer to it as the invisible wound. And it is so pervasive. And when you really get into the really severe impacts of it, you see drug addiction, alcoholism, self-abusive, mental illness, all of this stuff. And so much of it arises from that sense of disconnection from the larger self.
Yes, because it's that feeling of being alone, isn't it? Alone and lost. Not just alone,
yes,
but alone and lost.
Lost and not knowing that you belong. It's not just not knowing where you belong, but not knowing that you belong.
Yeah.
And this comes in. It's really powerful in the work we do in constellation work. There's this kind of snapshot that we get in a healthy family where you have the parents and then the child standing in front of them. And the child is able to look up at the parents and go, you're the big ones, I'm the little one. And this is where I belong. Because so often we get sucked into these family dynamics where, as children, we wind up having to take on parental responsibilities. And we lose touch with where we belong. And if you don't belong in that, if you don't recognize that you belong in that fundamental way of you're the big ones, I'm the little one, then you never feel like you belong anywhere.
There's an order to things. I hear it in your voice. I hear it in how you're saying it. So, and that order is what gives us comfort and gives us understanding. It's very interesting just to listen to the energy of what you're saying and get an understanding that way. So let me ask you this. Do you have any particular story about applying this to an individual and seeing that person heal?
Oh, God. I have a lot.
I think there was one that you told me previously about headaches.
Well, I think I told you the one, actually, yeah, there was this one woman who, Patricia, who came to me, and she had a lifetime. She was like 25 years old, and her whole life she had, since like 8 years old, had headaches every day, like really bad headaches. And it was debilitating. And after her first session, she was thrilled because the headache went away for like 2 days. And then after like her third session, it went away and never came back. Of course, she kept coming to see me for like 2 years, and we got a lot of other stuff taken care of. But
right, the headaches were just an entry point. Yeah.
And she has not had that particular kind of pain ever since.
Which is why you're one of the healers that I use to help me with the profile of what it is to be a healer, is because the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and when you get a consequence like that from a session, then you know that something good happened. You're not going to bear fruit like that unless you're working with the truth. But I would understand that most of the work that you do is an unfolding of the person's life in a completely new direction after working with you. Would that kind of sum it up?
I would say that, because so often the only reason that their life is not what they would want it to be is because some kind of hidden dynamic is bogging them down. And if you can just get through to whatever part of the soul is needing acknowledgement or support or healing, and get that to move forward, then everything works out better. But, one of the things that I will put in there, it is so essential when doing this kind of work that you realize that you're not coming in like a doctor and making something happen. You are there in service to the client and to their soul, which means you're also in service to their whole family. Okay?
Right.
That's really the essence of it. We invite the soul to do the movement that it wants to make, and then we help support that to go forward.
Sounds so wonderful, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I just want to go over that information again about how to get hold of you. It was Shaman's Touch, right? shamanstouch.com?
Yes.
And bodysoulcincy.com, correct? And your books are available on Amazon.com. Just tell us the titles again.
The first one is Dance of Stones, a shamanic road trip, and it's a travelogue, essentially, of a trip that I took back in '98. And the second one is Post-Tribal Shamanism, a new look at the old ways, and that is the textbook for the training series that I offer.
Fantastic, Ken. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all this wonderful information. I can confirm that once again
you're so welcome.
Thank you. You have whispered to my soul, and I feel the better for it. I really can truly say that. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to us here on the Schapera Show, where Viv and Neil explore this big adventure called life. And after the break, Neil will be with you giving his report from the spirit realm. We get 2 shamans today. Aren't we lucky? Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Kenn Day of Cincinnati, for coming on the show.
CrystalHealingTechniques.com is the place to learn crystal healing, and there's even some free courses and certification. CrystalHealingTechniques.com has courses from beginner to advanced, and you'll learn from a master crystal healer. Explore new and unique material as you learn from the amazing award-winning textbook, The Complete Guide to Crystal Surgery. So discover the world of healing through crystals at CrystalHealingTechniques.com. Visit CrystalHealingTechniques.com or call 513-891-8062.
Roku is like having your own video library with over 300,000 choices, and it's the best way to get Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and so much more. There's a Roku player for every budget, so go to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on the Roku banner.
If you like this program and you want to hear more of the Shaperas, then tune in to their YouTube channel called Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. There's demos, meditations, interviews, and more on their YouTube channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. So relax, enjoy, and learn unique material as you watch the Chaperas in action. Visit today on YouTube, and remember that channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. Do it now.
Discover the world's largest anti-aging organization, Life Extension. For the best information, vitamins, and supplements, you just can't beat Life Extension. To start extending your life, go to the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on the Life Extension banner.
There's a respected metaphysical academy that's been around for over 22 years, and it's still going strong. If you're interested in energy healing, crystal healing, developing intuition, or shamanism, then the Four Winds Academy for the Healing Arts and Sciences is exactly right for you. With in-person and online classes and full certifications, their experienced teachers work with you and take an interest in your progress. To find out more, visit fourwindsacademy.org. That's the number 4windsacademy.org. Or call 513-891-8062. Imagine taking a journey with metaphysical teachers and spirit guides right in your own home. Well, now you can with Vivian Schapera's book, Everyday Magic. Everyday Magic helps you understand your life from new perspectives as it guides you to feel motivated to take control of your life and your future. Get Everyday Magic today at Amazon.com, or for more information, visit Schapera.com or call 513-891-8062. That's 513-891-8062.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Hi there. Welcome back. You're listening to The Schapera Show, and I'm Neil, the resident shaman. I'm going to share with you my shamanic journeys to the spirit realm and my conversations with spirits. So, for today's show, I did a very, very interesting journey with an idea that came to me. Are there some really important concepts or guidelines for how we should live our lives that would be really useful and positive for all of humanity? Whenever I do a journey, I have to decide in advance, usually, whether I'm going to the upper world or the lower world. These are both spirit realms where one interacts with the spirits. And because my last few journeys have been to the upper world, I decided that for today I would travel to the lower world. And I went in through one of the places that I usually use, a hollowed-out tree and a portal on the floor that I go through, and then that takes me to this beam of light or energy that guides me and transports me down to the lower world. I went down and down and down, and all the while, as I am traveling, I keep the purpose of the journey in mind, which for today was to request the spirits to please give us guidance. Are there any concepts or guidelines that would be really useful to guide us for improving the lives of all of us, the planet and humanity? As I went down, I saw a very green area below me, and as I landed, some of my spirits came to me that I don't usually see in the lower world. And this was interesting because when one does a shamanic journey, one should try and understand everything that one sees and hears and experiences as being in response to the purpose of that journey. So I saw my spirit family, and straight away I understood that I'm being shown this in response to my request, because what is significant is safeguarding the future for everybody, and this is represented by families, because of course children represent the continuation of humanity into the future. And unfortunately, most of the time we're very preoccupied with living our life right now and not really planning for the benefit of generations way out into the future. But here the spirits were indicating very strongly that looking after future generations should be a really important guiding principle. And then they said to me, and actually they had given me a hint of this before I even started the journey. They said that we already have 2 superb guiding principles that most people have heard. And they said as an aside that if some people haven't heard these principles, that's a great omission on the part of our society, parents and schools and religious institutions. And these are the concepts of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, the hopefully familiar golden rule. And then the reverse of it, do not unto others as you would have them not do unto you. And the Spirits say that these are 2 fundamentally powerful guiding principles. And if they were all we used, if that was all we used to guide our lives, we would transform our relationships and our interactions and the consequences. And they said not to forget that this principle applies to ourselves as well, and we should think, do unto yourself as you would have others do unto you, and do not unto yourself as you would have others not do to you. And so we have this essential information already. The Spirits were very keen to say that we've got no business in saying that we don't have enough information to understand how to live constructively and positively. There's no reason to say, if only I had known that, I would have behaved differently. We do know these things. And they added that this golden rule of do unto others or do not unto others is especially applicable in our dealings with people that we don't know, with strangers. Then the Spirit shifted to a very interesting guiding principle. They said that we should live our lives understanding the power of the idea of reincarnation, that we should live as if we believe that we are going to be reincarnated. We don't have to actually have this belief, but it's a very, very powerful guiding principle, that if we believe that we will be reincarnated and the circumstances of that reincarnated existence could be very different. Right now we might be comfortable and healthy and in very good circumstances, but maybe we'll be reincarnated in a country or in circumstances where there's poverty, there's famine, there's environmental hardship, maybe we're disabled. And their point is surely, they kind of emphasize this word, surely that would be a huge stimulus for us to take care of situations that are outside of our present personal circumstances. In other words, the circumstances of everybody and everywhere should be of vital interest for us, because who knows, but in a future incarnation, that's where we could land up. Why wouldn't we want to make life better for everybody everywhere if that's where we could end up? And they also said that we should even think that we could be reborn as an animal. And so the circumstances for animals should also be in our best interests. What if we get reborn as a cow or a pig or an endangered animal? I then asked, are there any other guiding notions they'd like to help me with? And they said, yes, to live as if we are part of nature, that when nature is protected, we are protected. And when nature is polluted and poisoned and destroyed, we are being polluted and poisoned and destroyed. And this fitted in with the next guidance they gave me, which is that we should follow the principle that we are all one, which includes all humans, all animal life, all of nature. And they say it's absolutely true. This is not just a guiding notion. This is a fact. We are all one. We might not experience it that way, but this is the idea that we should use. And again, it's an absolutely staggeringly powerful, transformative principle if we live this way. Then they popped an interesting image into my mind. So this journey was full of really interesting and useful guidance. And this was an image of a rainbow bridge going from earth to heaven. And this was a simplified image to help me and others relate to it. And they said that what this really is meaning is that the energy or the fuel to take us from earth to heaven is love. So, and they said that the precursor of love is kindness. And even if we don't feel kind, we should act as if we're kind. It's like fake it as if, and you'll eventually make it. Then at the end, they gave me another image, and the understanding of that was live your life as if you're being constantly observed. In other words, don't think we can hide our thoughts and actions. The spirits see them, and they either rejoice in our actions or they are disappointed in our actions. And let's make the universe be joyful in the way we live. So that was pretty much the end of it, and I thanked them profusely and returned up the beam to the middle world. It was really a profound journey, and I felt so grateful. So, thank you. You've been listening to Neil of the Schapera Show, and we have to go on our break now. When we come back, Vivian will continue with messages from Crystal.
If you like this program and you want to hear more of the Schaperas, then tune in to their YouTube channel called Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. There's demos, meditations, interviews, and more on their YouTube channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. So relax, enjoy, and learn unique material as you watch the Schaperas in action. Visit today on YouTube, and remember that channel, Crystal Surgery and Crystal Healing Techniques. Do it now.
You have too little time to shop, so try Farm Fresh to You. They deliver organic food the way nature intended, delivered straight to your home or office, economically. Visit our web advertiser page and click on Farm Fresh to You now.
There's a respected metaphysical academy that's been around for over 22 years, and it's still going strong. If you're interested in energy healing, crystal healing, developing intuition, or shamanism, then the Four Winds Academy for the Healing Arts and Sciences is exactly right for you. With in-person and online classes and full certifications, their experienced teachers work with you and take an interest in your progress. To find out more, visit fourwindsacademy.org. That's the number 4windsacademy.org. Or call 513-891-8062.
Get high-quality glasses, sunglasses, and prescription lenses at eyeglasses.com. Choose from over 250,000 items and 400 brands. Already have frames? Get replacement lenses. It's easy. Go to our advertiser page and click eyeglasses.com.
Imagine taking a journey with metaphysical teachers and spirit guides right in your own home. Well, now you can with Vivian Schapera's book, Everyday Magic. Everyday Magic helps you understand your life from new perspectives as it guides you to feel motivated to take control of your life and your future. Get Everyday Magic today at Amazon.com, or for more information, visit Schapera.com or call 513-891-8062. That's 513-891-8062. CrystalHealingTechniques.com is the place to learn crystal healing, and there's even some free courses and certification. CrystalHealingTechniques.com has courses from beginner to advanced, and you'll learn from a master crystal healer. Explore new and unique material as you learn from the amazing award-winning textbook, The Complete Guide to Crystal Surgery. So discover the world of healing through crystals at CrystalHealingTechniques.com. Visit CrystalHealingTechniques.com or call 513-891-8062.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Hello and welcome back to the Schapera Show, where Viv and Neil explore this big adventure called life. Today I'm going to be talking about carnelian, and I had a wonderful, wonderful conversation with this amazing stone, and I can't wait to share this information about you. Not about you, about carnelian. So a few months ago we talked to sardonyx and discovered that one of the components of sardonyx is carnelian. And at that time I said there is much too much to say about carnelian, and I only mentioned that its name comes from carni, C-A-R-N-I, which is the word for flesh, and that finding this out startled me because of how carnelian is used in crystal surgery. So just to review, carnelian is a form of agate and chalcedony, and this in itself, just agate and chalcedony, has a lot of different healing properties. But in addition to this, carnelian is an ideal second chakra stone. It has amazing compatibility with the second chakra, not only because of its orange color, but also because carnelian and the second chakra share this dynamic. They are both portals for incarnation. The second chakra is the chakra of incarnation because it is the very first chakra to form, as it is the point of the umbilicus. When we incarnate, we are formed physically at the second chakra. We're formed by the second chakra, and we are formed in the second chakra. This is interesting enough, but there is another fascinating second chakra lineage. The egg that becomes you was formed inside your mother's ovaries, which the ovaries are, of course, a second chakra organ, and that was when your mother was an embryo inside your grandmother's second chakra. This generational aspect of the second chakra is very profound, and we have no way of apprehending all the significance of it in our culture. We just know the second chakra is unbelievably important, unbelievably complex, and it's very impacted at this time in our world. In crystal surgery, we use carnelian to regenerate tissue. We build a wand with tangerine quartz on one end and carnelian on the other end, and this wand forms a bridge from the etheric dimension to the physical dimension. The wand delivers etheric tissue to the second chakra in the same way as the umbilicus delivers nutrition to the embryo so that it can grow and develop. Carnelian told me to tell you this, and this is one long quote from carnelian. It is very important to understand that the second chakra is a great conversion factory. We are all familiar with the fact that we ingest food. Then our alimentary canals process that food, turning it into nutrients. These nutrients are assimilated and turned into both fuel and the building blocks for forming new physical tissue. Don't forget that the entire alimentary canal is a second chakra system. The reproductive system is also a second chakra system. Here we are familiar with the fact that the second chakra can procreate, generating new life, supporting a metamorphosis from sperm and egg to embryo to fetus to infant. What we are not familiar with is the fact that the etheric realm, like the sun and food, is also a source of energy and forms a very significant resource. We talk about chi energy, and we know that all energy comes from the sun, but we don't have an equivalent understanding of how our chi energy originates in the etheric realm, and we definitely don't grasp how chi energy is delivered into the physical system. All martial arts systems and traditional Chinese medicine recognize that the center of our chi is the hara and lower dantian, situated in the second chakra. To enhance chi energy, we can do breathing practices, Reiki, acupuncture, and so on. Yet these practices don't explain where the chi energy is coming from and how new additional chi can enter the system. Cornelian wants to remind us that we have energy structures in our energy field and energy body that continue to receive a replenishment of chi energy from the etheric realm. Whereas the physical umbilicus is severed at birth, the energetic umbilicus persists throughout our lifetime as an attachment to the etheric realm. Through this energetic umbilicus, we can continue to receive love, support, and energy from the universe, our great mother. Cornelian also wants me to tell you a quick and beneficial way to become centered and enhance your chi receptors in your second chakra. All you need is a piece of cornelian and a piece of candle quartz. Hold one in one hand and one in the other hand. With conscious awareness, breathe in and out slowly for 3 minutes. Then switch which stone is in which hand and continue to breathe in and out slowly with awareness. After 6 minutes of doing this, you will feel calm, you will feel centered, and your chi centers will have been energized. Thank you, Cornelian, for this amazing, amazing gift. Folks, you've been listening to The Schapera Show, where Viv and Neil explore this big adventure called life. Join us again next month on the second Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, or listen to us on demand anytime that you want. Thank you.